Hi, I'm Johnathan Brownlee, and I'm reading for the part of the... Let me do that one more time.
Click.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Johnathan Brownlee. I'll be reading for the part of CEO and President of Dallas Film and Executive Director of the Dallas International Film Festival. Thanks for having me to audition. I love that.
I'm sorry, the role's been filled.
Right.
Dang.
Hold on, before we start, one thing that we can talk about is the rebranding. So it's no longer the Dallas Film Society, it's Dallas Film, and I think the other big thing to talk about is Adam Tickets. Because we are Adam Tickets.
Adam Tickets,
because we are the first festival really to do.
To have the app,
Anything else?
Yes. Hello. Vision for filmmaking in Dallas, feature films, broader than just festivals.
Cool. You can do that?
Fix that up.
We
Rock
can,
and
we
roll.
can.
Even though you're shooting on a Canon.
I know.
I always bust him on that, right?
Main.
Give me a
Right.
Sony camera and I'll use it.
I know. I'll get you one. Get you one. Cool. Cool.
You have it on tape now.
That's right.
Haha,
That's
yes,
right.
do it. All right, welcome back. First full day of the Dallas International Film Festival. I keep wanting to say day one. It's not day one.
Technically not.
It's day two.
Right.
Full day one.
It is, yeah. So obviously last night, April 11th, opening night at the Magnolia Theater, just packed, too full, sold out
Oh my
film.
gosh.
It was really great. The party afterwards was wonderful, and today we open up our second location at Studio Movie Grill Royal. So very excited to be here in the
It was
first day.
so fun last night. We had, Mu Cocina brought all the tacos out. Jason Castro was out. He was on stage with his brother. They were singing some of their new singles. I thought it was so fun. It was just a good vibe.
Yeah,
Nice,
I mean, yes.
Positive vibe.
Yeah, no, actually, you're not the only one that said that. I mean, that's trying what we're really trying to create this positive, fun festival and introduce new people to the idea of a film festival. Because you have West Village is a great partner, and there's so many people that are always walking through there. So you sort of see people walking by and going, oh, this looks like fun, and then they start coming in and they're like, what's going on? And oh, look, it's Jason and Michael Castro. Wasn't he on American Idol? Well, yes, he, like, where are we?
Yes.
Kind of thing, right? So it was very cool.
That actually happened to us last night. Wendy and I were sitting at a table outside Mu Cocina, and somebody walked by and they were looking around. They're like, what's going on? What is this?
Right.
And both immediately pull out their phones and start Googling. And I was like, welcome, friend.
That's right. All of that. Yeah, it's fun when you sort of introduce a new audience or a new customer to come and see it, and they're like, "Oh, is there a box office over here? Can I get tickets to this?"
Yeah.
And yes.
What are you showing? What movie am I going to see?
And then wait a second, if I get a Star Pass or if I get to come into this lounge and drink for free all week, well, yes, you do.
With filmmakers.
With filmmakers and hang out, and that's the access point is really great. Like you say, we've got films from 36 countries, and so you never know who you're going to bump into, in the lounge or in South Alley or on the stage. And I mean, I think that's one of the pieces that people find surprising is they do get to talk to the filmmakers and have a beer or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that Dallas Film Festival is 13 years old?
13, yes.
13 or 14 years
technically
old. So,
13 years, yeah.
And so I think this is my 9th festival that I've attended. So I've seen a lot of changes, and I've been to lots of other film festivals.
Yeah.
But one thing that has always stayed constant is at DIF, the filmmakers are rock stars.
Yes, well, unfortunately, I'm. When I first started coming here, I'm from Canada, and I was, yeah, I know, right? That's how do they get across the border?
We love our brothers to the north.
Thank you.
Love them.
And I came here with a film called Decoding Annie Parker with Helen Hunt and Samantha Morton. That was the first time I ever came to the festival, and that's exactly the first thing I noticed. People picking you up at the airport, taking you for barbecue, showing you around. I'm like, where am I? Like, Dallas is a really cool city. And now I live here and I run this thing.
Welcome, friend.
Well, thank you. Yes, my second year running this. I've actually had 4 films in the festival over the years, and that's really kind of our goal here is not just to build a world-class film festival, but to build a city that has a world-class filmmaking community too. And so, having grown up in Toronto, I saw those things grow at the same pace, and I think that's really important. And Dallas has all of the major elements that Toronto does.
Absolutely.
In fact, probably more than Toronto did at the time, because they're, one of the things I love about people in Dallas and Texas, and I say it all the time, I just think Dallasites are positively Canadian because they're really nice and they want to do things, and when they say they're going to do something, they actually show up and do it. And so it's been fun to really introduce people here that might normally invest in, healthcare or oil and gas, and they're like, oh, is film an opportunity for me to help grow an arts community?
Yes.
And so that's been a really big piece of our vision and our messaging is, we really want to keep people here making films, because oftentimes they leave. They go to New Orleans, or they go to Atlanta,
Head
or
to Shreveport or Santa Fe or Albuquerque.
Exactly, all of that. And I understand why. So,
absolutely, yes.
So we just have to tell the narrative and really create some incentives for people to stay here, because they want to stay in Texas.
Well, let's talk some more about that. In addition to some great collegiate film schools, SMU is just down the road.
Yep.
I'm a TCU alum. UNT has a fantastic program, as does Baylor. Of course, UT is down the road.
Yep.
But in addition to that, we have great high school programs here.
Really do.
So we're really training these directors and crew and young producers to come up through the ranks. So I feel like that's one of the biggest things that Dallas has to offer, is this incredible pool of trained talent. But for other people that are not familiar with the Dallas scene or the Texas scene at large, we're big. If you haven't been here,
big state,
lots of people here.
Yep.
So what are some of the things that filmmakers, producers, studios can really look forward to when they roll into town?
Yeah, well, there's actually a pretty good infrastructure here. Obviously, you can shoot almost 365 days a year.
Yes.
There's really a variety of locations that you can use, and one of the great things, especially for independent filmmakers, is the city is extremely supportive of filmmaking. And a lot of other cities are like, well, you need a permit here, you need a permit there, and that'll be $5,000, that'll be $10,000. Here it's like, hey, how can we help? And whenever, it's like, you mean you're going to give me that hotel for $5,000 for 3 weeks? Yeah, sure. Can my kids be in the background? Absolutely. So that's one of the wonderful things about what I call my mosh pit of joy, Dallas, Texas, right? Because it's cool. It is. You just kind of make stuff happen here, and I think that's really cool.
Okay, well, so you are a filmmaker as well as a businessman. So what are some of the trends you're seeing with young filmmakers and well-established filmmakers that are coming back for second and third projects? Right.
Well, I think one of the things that's happening, which is good, is I think filmmakers are beginning to understand the business side of the business a little better. One of the companies that I collaborate with here a lot, we've done, 4 or 5 features together, is Cinestate, right? Mm-hmm. Dallas Sonia and Amanda Presmick have an amazing company, and I think they're really leading in the space of pre-selling films, keeping budgets low, containing locations, and making money at making films. Yeah. And I think if you want to continue to make films, you have to make money. It's a business, right?
It has to be.
And I think filmmakers are getting smarter that way. They're not writing these huge, expansive scripts. They're writing stuff that's more contained, which are the type of things that I like. We just shot a film here called Standoff at Sparrow Creek, which premiered at Toronto. And it's exactly that. It's almost, I call it a parlor play. Henry Dunham wrote and directed it. It's kind of been compared to Reservoir Dogs and Usual Suspects, but it's a very contained piece, and it's something you can execute really well and ultimately make money on it. And so I think filmmakers are understanding that a little better, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I got into what you were saying, and I totally lost my train of thought.
No.
Okay, so we were talking a little bit about some of the changes that have been happening. We were talking about interconnectedness that we're seeing more between the artistic world and the business world, and the audience world is really contributing more. I think maybe some of that is social media. Love it or hate it, you know, that kind of.
It's
getting
the world.
That inside look.
It's the world we're in.
I think is helping us all, the three sides are kind of coming together.
Yep.
And we do have kind of a fun new feature for the audiences this year. It's an app, or it's a website, but it's an app, the Atom Tickets website, and we're actually the first film festival that they're collaborating with. Yeah, that's right. So,
I think Dallas International Film Festival has always had a great product, meaning we've, James Faust, our artistic director, and his team, Daniel Labs, they crush it every year.
Yes.
Like, they just have great programming. So, check. So how do we make this into a world-class, cutting-edge, on-the-wave type of a festival? And so it's the audience experience.
Yes.
So how do we make the audience experience better? And one of the things I hate to do is stand in lines. Just hate it.
It's obnoxious.
It's horrible. We already spend the rest of our life standing in line, for our driver's license.
And it's a fire hazard.
It is. And so how did we get rid of that? So obviously in the marketplace, if you go to see just a regular film, you're going to reserve a seat and show up, right? So why wouldn't we do that in the film festival space, right? Now, it is a bit more complicated, but we really took that task up this year with our partners at Atom Tickets and VZ, and they spent an amazing time and energy, brain power to help us develop this with us. So we are the first to do this, and it's really exciting because now people can go on, buy tickets, schedule their seats, and then put them all in your wallet, your digital wallet, and then come out and enjoy the festival instead of standing in line for an hour.
Twiddling your thumbs.
Exactly. So now what you do is you're stirring more economics too.
Yes.
So in a place like West Village or Studio Movie Grill, so you can come to Studio Movie Grill. There's an incredible bar and food there, right? So now you can go in, have a drink, don't have to stand in line. So now you're stirring the economy a bit more too, right? It's an economic multiplier. Same thing with West Village. I mean, West Village is a great partner for us. There's all these shops and restaurants.
Yes.
You can go to Mi Cocina and have a mambo taxi and a burrito.
While you're watching Jason Castro.
Right? So now you're creating all these great economic multipliers, and great partners are like, oh, the film festival is good for us. Yes, it is. The film business is good for you.
The West Village has been incredibly welcoming, and it's the perfect location. Like I said, I've been to lots of film festivals, and I have had the experience where the creepy guy is following me back to my car while I'm trying to find the theater.
I shouldn't be laughing at that, but
just for people that haven't been down here, I feel safe. Everything is accessible. We have the beautiful Magnolia, of course, with their wonderful staff. So thank you to the West Village.
And look where we're sitting right now.
Yes, the beautiful Canopy Hotel.
Yeah, Canopy by Hilton. So also a great partner. And last year, which was my first year running the festival, we missed the opening of the hotel just by that much, by a couple of weeks. But they still hosted an event for us on their what's now called the Upside, the 8th floor bar. They basically pushed all the drywall dust out of the way, and we had our chairman's reception there, and that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. And this year, they're hosting a bunch of our VIPs. We're having events here. They're just Kevin Sullivan and his team. I can't say enough. Even before I ask for stuff, they're like, "Hey, can we give you that?" I'm like, again, that's the Dallas spirit about this.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. They're really pretty, pretty amazing about that. And that's ultimately kind of my whole vision for Dallas. And Capital One has really helped us with this coming in this year.
They came to the red carpet last night.
They did. So Capital One has come in this year, and they're amazing partners. Yes, they did write a check, which always helps. But more importantly, what they're really doing is they have a vision similar to ours of what we really want Dallas to be. Sanjeev and his team. I love their approach. They're basically like, hey, if we fill the lake, all boats will rise at the same rate. So we've really connected with Startup Week and Soluna, which is the Dallas Symphony Orchestra, and we're doing events together. And I just think it adds so much to the mise en scène of what's happening in Dallas. So I can't say enough about our partners this year. And I mean, like I said, they're more than check writers. They're friends, they're family. They're helping to populate our boards. They're our volunteers. So it's been pretty fabulous.
We did have a couple of board members present last night. Scott was there. Scott Eustace,
our chairman. Yeah.
Okay.
Mark Denisek, Suzanne Grishman, Matt Bavona. I'm sure I'm missing people, but they are all volunteers. So we have a volunteer board that's populated with great industry leaders and business leaders, and then we have the associate board, which we started this year, which is sort of young, up-and-coming folks who maybe have never sat on a board before. They're like, hey, how does this work? And I'd never sat on a board, so how do you do that? So it's kind of a farm team to help us grow the next level of philanthropists and board members. And some of them may populate our main board, or they may go off to the Nash and other places and populate those boards, which is exactly the idea. We also just started Steve Stodgill, has been a great, Steve and Ann Stodgill.
Oh, they're so amazing.
They've been a great friends of the festival since the beginning. They're actually part of the reason I moved to Dallas. They forced me. They really did. They forced me.
They're like the godparents of
they really
the
are.
Dallas
they
art
really
community.
Are. Yeah, and so Steve had always wanted to create something called the President's Advisory Council, the PAC. And so, because he's on the national board of AFI, and so he invited really all of these industry leaders and major folks here in Dallas to be a part of this. And really, in a couple of weeks, he put almost 50 people in a room for us, and they're just really going to help us amplify our message for what we want to do here in Dallas.
I think that's so important because it reminds people that like the art lover is part of it.
No, exactly. And that's exactly right. So the art fair opened up this weekend too, right? So we've got all of these wonderful things with, visual art and film all happen, and music all happening at the same time in April. And I just think, people would come here and go, all this stuff is happening in this month and in Dallas? Yeah, I mean, that's really what we're trying to build here.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so expanding beyond Dallas, looking at all of Texas, I don't want to take it down, but the Texas arts, especially the film scene, has taken a few punches in the past few years. So, I mean, what ideally would your vision be for the art community here, and what role is Dallas going to play in it?
So Dallas is going to be, people talk about Austin a lot.
Sure.
They've done an incredible job of marketing their city, right? They have great messaging. And so I think that's one of the things we have not done very well in Dallas, that we're hoping that Dallas Film can be a part of this whole messaging process and be an incubator for art and film, both from the festival side to the production side. I think we're really going to have to take up that mantle. And yes, I think part of it is, the industry, the film industry can be seen as, it's been a punching bag over the last couple of years for talking points. And I just don't think we've done a very good job of saying, look, maybe you think this is an ultra-liberal thing, but what we do, why don't you walk onto a film set and tell me who's a Republican, a liberal, and a Democrat? No, they're just all people working and making a very good living, and creating stuff that Texas can be proud of, right? And so I think we need to be better at telling that message. And once we do, you see what's happening with other industries. Toyota's moved here. Sonopolis has moved here. All these major industries, they get it.
Yeah.
They know why they're coming here, because it's a great place to live. It's a great place to do business, and our industry hasn't really caught up to that yet, but I think it is going to happen, and we're going to try to help with that.
Yeah, I love, and that's actually a theme in some of our films here. We were talking to Thomas earlier about it. There are so many films that either directly or indirectly have a link to another art form, whether it be people can debate about whether journalism is an art form, but it plays a role there. The theater is very present in lots of others. The novel is present in some. And I love that theme of, the arts as a community. Like you said, a rising tide floats all boats, and we all move forward together. And I think to promote the film industry, that is what we need. We need the poets, and we need the musicians, and we need the painters to all be one. Yeah, and keep working, right? And that's one of the things that I think is really important for me, as a filmmaker too, is I love running the festival, but I think it also has added value because, I'm making 3 features a year. And we're trying to make them here. So I'm not only saying, hey, make films here, but I'm making films here, right? And so I think that's a big piece of it. You have to talk the talk, but you also have to walk the walk. Absolutely. And so we really want other art forms to stay here and work here and make money here. And so we're really going to try to help with that. Dallas Film is really going to try to help with all of that. I love it. And just for the record, you can love Dallas and Austin. You can love them both. We love them both. Yeah, we do. They love Dallas. We love them. Yeah. No. I think it's a really fun time to be here and living here, and it's fun to see the new people that are moving in or moving back. Yes. We have a lot of people coming back. So many coming home, which is really, really great. So we hope that trend continues, and we'll make it continue. I mean, it's going to be hard work, but that's kind of the fun and the joy of it. Well, all the Toronto peeps that you want to bring down here, we've got room. Well, there is a little bit of influx of Canadian. Every time I turn around, there's another Canadian moving into town. It's almost like an infestation, I guess, right? We love you, Canadians. I know. So Canadians are great. We kind of hop over the privacy hedge and come down, but it is. It's a great place to live and work. And I think there's always been some connectivity between Houston and Calgary. So now I think maybe Toronto or Vancouver becomes our sister city here, which would be really great. I love them both. I know, right? I love them both. Yeah. All right, Johnathan, I know you've got a ton of stuff to do. I do. Calls. I know. We have the Filmmakers Lunch today and a bunch of events. And, of course, we're opening up Studio Movie Grill. Yes. We start at 4 o'clock today on some of that. We have red carpet every night. Red carpet every night and music every night in South Alley and West Village. And, again, I can't say enough to all of our partners, Capital One, Studio Movie Grill, the Canopy, where we're sitting right now. And, of course, can never forget Selig Polyscope, right? Deb Shapiro.
So you should make sure that you check out thejewishweatherman.com. It's a new website specifically for festivals, for weather. So Dev Shapiro, so I got to talk about this guy a little bit, right?
Okay,
so
let's hear him.
He's actually standing behind the camera right now, so I can say all about. He can't stop me, right?
Guy.
So I remember when I first came here, you meet people that you're like, man, that guy is so cool, right? But he's always like, what does he do? What does he really do? Right?
Everywhere.
He's like omnipresent.
Yes, he
right?
is.
So
Wendy and I have discussed that.
Right? Yeah, I mean this is a perfect example of Dallas, right? Selig Polyscope, which has a storied history in the film business. Deb has taken up the mantle again, and really, behind the scene in film festivals, people are like, oh wow, we're watching films. Yeah, but how did those films get on the screen? You got guys like at Selig Polyscope and Dev Shapiro who they connect with all the filmmakers. They make these digital cinema packages. They traffic all the films. Like, it just doesn't happen without these guys, right? And then they're shooting interviews and all this kind of stuff. And so, it's great to have partners like that kind of, I always have to pull them out in the front. I'm like, Dev, go talk to people, right? He's like, but I'm so busy, I'm doing all that stuff. So it's been pretty cool. But this has been a really exciting year, my second year. And I can't wait to see what happens with everything at the festival.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you, Johnathan.
Yeah.
Have a good festival.
Thank you very much.
2019.
2019.
Year 13.
Come on out to the Dallas International Film Festival, powered by Capital One.